Dear students, welcome all of you. I am Dr. Rana Rai, Associate Professor in History, PG Department of History, ABN Shield College, Coach Bihar. Now, I am going to deliver a short talk on rise of Indian nationalism and debate regarding this. This is also in the syllabus of the PG second sem, Panchanan Burma University. The rise of Indian nationalism and how it developed regarding this. There are lot of debates among scholars and historians. There are different schools in this regards. Traditional school of historians emphasize that nationalism would have been the result of a collective political will to struggle against the oppression and repression of the colonial rule, against the oppression and repression against the colonial rule. Secondly, we would come to the Cambridge School. Before coming to the Cambridge School, I would like to say light on Hobbes say that man is selfish in nature. Cambridge School historians, based on Namier thesis, which also emphasizes on group interest or self-interest, to bring up any political movement. One of the pioneers of the Cambridge School is O'Neill Shield. He emphasized on collaboration thesis. According to this thesis, different group interests collaborate with each other and make nationalism possible. Judith Brown in Gandhi's Rise to Power say how Gandhi was successful to accumulate and consolidated these different groups and turn into a mass movement against colonial government. Gallagher, Washbrook, Robinson and many other historians stresses on the locality for the emergence of nationalism. Washbrook in his studies in Madras shows how nationalism would develop in different villages, towns, municipality, local administration, etc. Now we would come to the Marxist interpretation. R.P. Dutt in his India Today firmly said that the rise of capitalism at the last end of 19th century paved the way for nationalism. Bourgeois, newly educated class, lawyers, teachers, etc. joined in the national movement. However, many other quote-unquote Indian Marxist historians stressed on the other sides or other factors for rising national movement. As for example, Bipan Chandra emphasized on ideology. However, he gave some importance on rise of the capitalism and capitalist class. Now we turn to the subaltern studies pioneered by Ranjit Guha in his subaltern studies. In his subaltern studies, Ranjit Guha emphasizes that ideas of nationalism does not always percolate from the top. At the lower level, the people of lower class society, so-called lower class society, the peasants, the farmers, the laborers, have their own way to involve in the nationalist program. They have own agenda. They have own ideas and ideals, not always similar to the nationalist leaders of the top. Now I would focus the very question whether nationalism developed before coming to the British or not. In this regard also there are many debates. Many historians have opined that it is basically a modern Western concept coming from Europe. From the beginning of the 19th century, there was tremendous spread of English education, English learning. English wanted some English known natives to their day-to-day, run their day-to-day official work or administrative work. In this process, the concept of nationalism would come to India. Ram Mohan may be described as the finest example of this. Acharya Brajendranath Shil was also the principal of our college, described him as quote-unquote universal man. He tried to synthesize the Western nationalistic education with the knowledge of the East. simultaneously there was Orientalist who tried to explore India's past. So this is a complicated story. Many scholars says that during the period of Akbar or Ashoka may not be nationalism is in the true sense of the term or modern term, but certain kind of united notion would have been created. In the 19th century, another important aspect for the spread of nationalism was the railway system. In the mid-19th century, railway system introduced in India. Railway system, in Marxian term, we can say that destroyed the idyllic village community. People are now more closely connected to each other. There were a number of vernacular and English magazines and journals published during this time, like in Maharashtra, the Keshari, in Bengal, Amrito Bajar Potrika, etc. These newspaper and magazine gives accounts of national movement and spread the message of national movement all over the country. So role of newspaper, books and journals were very important. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay wrote Anandamot, which gave a tremendous impetus to the Indian nationalism. In 1885, Indian National Congress was established. At the beginning, Congress followed moderate policy. According to this moderate policy, there was a feeling that the British should do good to ourselves. They trusted on this belief, but 1905 anti-partition movement, 1905 Karjan partition Bengal, and all these hopes would have been crashed. Anti-partition movement followed. On 16th August 1905, Rabindranath tied Rakhi on everyone's hand and he led the procession. Led the movement, encapsulated the Swadeshi education, Swadeshi enterprise, Swadeshi stores, all flourished up. As for example, we can say Prafullo Chandra Sen's Bengal Chemical, Bangolokhi Cotton Mill, etc. Rabindranath wrote numerous songs on Swadeshi. He talked about, emphasized on the Atmashakti or self-reliance, which reverberated outside Bengal also. Leaders like Aurobindo Ghosh, Bipin Chandra Pal's, Bal Gangadhar Tilak's fiery speech made the people emboldened to fight against the British rule. However, after 1907, quote-unquote extremism would have been got prominence to many extent, and there would have been a split in the Congress in 1907 Surat Congress. In 1911, the capital of British India was transferred from Bengal, Calcutta, then it is named Calcutta, to Delhi. Now then, there was some dull time before Gandhi's rise to power. Gandhi's rise to power in 1920. Gandhi, through his non-violent, non-cooperation movement, made nationalism a mass movement. Thank you all of you.